Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and occasionally other toy lines as well. We're pretty excited here because it's episode 97, which means that we're only a couple away from 100. We better start getting prepared for that. But for tonight, we've definitely got a topic in mind, and we're all about combiners, baby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Combining.
Yes.
What are they called again? I'm going to get this right, aren't I?
No, you're not, mate. You're not.
No, I'm not, am I?
Combiners, Jason. We just said it.
He's thinking of the. I'm not going to say what it is.
G
but
word.
He's thinking of the G word.
The G word.
The old school G word. And he's going to say it now. What is it? Come on. Come on.
Gestalt.
No.
No. Damn.
Well, typically it was always said with like a hard G. It's like gestalt. Or
Gestalt.
Gestalt. If you want to be gestalt, I think
like
is like.
no one fights as hard as Gestalt. Goes as hard as Gestalt. Like Gaston for Beauty and the
Like
Beast.
Gaston, yeah. I kind of got it. Yeah.
Just in case you didn't. I just
No,
remember.
I sort of did.
I know you lag a little bit sometimes with pop culture references. So
I think I got Beauty and the Beast. I was all right with that one. Yeah,
Impressed.
I've seen it. You know, I got a kid. You know, seen Disney films. But yeah, no, tonight is all about combiners or gestalts or gestalts.
Yep.
It's like GIF and GIF, isn't it? In your case.
Exactly.
Chase.
I did just see there is a Gestalt psychology as well.
It's not a Transformers word. It's,
that's a Japanese
used to
word.
Be, I don't know. Actually, is it not a German word? I'm guessing.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, this is
I
even
don't know.
worse.
I'm guessing. Honestly,
like
now I don't know about the root of the word or whatever. I'm guessing it just sounded.
I'm going to assume it's Greek. All these things tend to be
Greek
and Latin. Let's
Could be
Google.
Greek.
Let's see.
I'm Googling it already. You know,
Google it,
away
man.
you go.
Yeah. Hit it.
But it just comes up as Gestalt psychology. Yeah. Definition and meaning.
Yeah, but that's because it's a whole thing about combining, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting.
What's the etymology of the word?
Oh, I love
Oh,
that.
here we go. Sixo was correct. It emerged in the early 20th century in Austrian Germany.
There we go. You see,
Good
there we
stuff.
go. Maybe I knew that. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just guessed. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was the terminology. I want to say in the early days of the Transformers internet. That was like when I first kind of started going online. That's what everybody was calling combiners.
Yeah.
But it's sort of fallen by the wayside a little bit now, hasn't it? Like nobody calls them that anymore, apart from Jason.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's just my years, my aged years.
Right.
That's it.
I just love the idea of all the 20-somethings looking at you when you're talking about gestalts, and they're just like, "What?"
Yeah,
Check
because
out
he's
old
got a German
grandpa over
surname. That's what it is.
Why did Gestalt? Why did that come into the?
I've no
lexicon?
idea.
Where did that come from?
Hmm.
Was it used in a comic somewhere?
Maybe, or like somebody online. I think it predated a lot of the kind of comics and stuff. Even to me, it was like a really early internet terminology. You know, it was just one of the words that was used very
I remember.
frequently and sort of became the lexicon,
totally.
if you will, for combiners. But we've switched back to combiners.
It was only when they came back with Combiner Wars, really, that Combiner sort of set back into as the definitive term. Like nobody says Gestalt anymore, other than Jason.
Just Jason.
But nobody does. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, busted. I'll accept
And even
that.
then, he can't say it properly, so
Yeah.
no one's saying it accurately.
Well, that is my brand as well, right? That's fine. Yeah.
You do forget, like, a lot of the things that we now take for granted as having, like, official, definitive names and groups and stuff. For a long time, did they? There were quite a few. Like
So
it's
true.
like the Seekers. Like, for example, we all
Yeah.
call them the Seekers now, and they
Good
never were the
example.
Seekers.
Or
That's what
like
they are now.
Generation 1 was a fan
Yeah,
term.
still
That
are.
wasn't an official thing until it was. You know, all of this, or a lot of this stuff, not everything, but a lot of stuff started as internet parlance, didn't it? And then suddenly
Yeah.
it was like, we'll make that official in some way or another. So it's kind
I've
of
never
funny.
thought about that. That's very cool, actually, isn't it? Yeah, of course. That we all just
Yeah.
call it G1, Gen 1, Generation 1, and then, yeah.
Well, yeah, technically the original series is not called Generation 1. It's only
Yeah.
called that in
Transformers.
it's the Transformers, yeah.
The.
The Transformers, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone who got the reissue of God Bomber and P-Mop. The Super Jim Ride. Do you remember the old Toys R Us one?
I do.
They had a shot of the back of the box and noticed it had the old Transformers logo missing the. And it made me, like, inexplicably slightly annoyed. And I thought,
Did you do the prowl table flip? Did you?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
Look, they are the Transformers.
Can well imagine it.
Yeah.
So, Liam, do you not want me to introduce you tonight?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I've been waiting for you to do it. I was going to prompt you if you didn't do it before we actually started.
Okay. I was going to say, because we're
Please.
5 minutes in.
I know,
Not
which
figured
is-
it out by now.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, we're episode 97, and in case you're not yet sure who people are...
We are episode 97, are we?
We are at
as a group.
episode... Yes, we as a group. We are collectively episode 97. That is over there. That's Liam from Toybox Soapbox.
What ho?
There he is. Had to get it in there.
Bless.
And the man with the soft G's, or maybe hard G's.
Hard G's.
Jason.
Definitely. Yeah. Hard
G's.
The hard jeans. I need some fabric softener. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm here with my G's.
Whoa. My God. Jason, you've got a bit of a habit of late of saying the worst things imaginable on this podcast. I don't know where it's come from. It's like a recent trend.
He's rebelling.
I didn't even know what I said wrong. Did I say something wrong then? Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm still reeling from safe sex, don't get pregnant. Honestly, that's still...
Like that
keeps me up at night.
I know, yeah. That's gone into space, you know. Some alien race will pick that up and they will be safe.
And then never come here again, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. No probing here.
Civilization will die because nobody got pregnant.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah, true.
And now there are people listening to this episode that have no idea what that reference is about, and they're going to be like, what? What have I tuned in for?
They've switched off. They've switched off now.
They probably have.
They need to join the Patreon so they can go and find out. It's worth it.
I'm always curious, like, what percentage of people, like new listeners, start listening to like a random episode of this podcast and they make it to about this point, like 5 to 7 minutes in, and then they start thinking, the f*** are they on about? Do you know what I mean? And then they just tune out. I don't know. I assume it must be quite high.
Well, I can say from experience that then I think I dropped in not on episode 1 when you guys started doing this, and just chose an episode that I wanted to listen to. And I know you all as well. So I was just like, the referencing, I need to go back. So I went back and started listening to stuff from the beginning. Yeah. But we have a lot of our patrons that say that, don't they? They go back and start listening.
They do. Some of them have listened to episodes multiple times over, which is dedication.
It is.
I'm always impressed.
I know. Good content.
Well, before we kick off tonight, we should also mention that we have a sponsor for the evening. That is tssource.com. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. And we will be doing a little bit of a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod, as always. And as we said previously, we do have or as we alluded to, I should say, we do have a Patreon as well, which you can find at patreon.com/Triple Takeover. And you want to get yourself on there. There are 5 glorious tiers of stuff, and we're going to do a little bit of a longer segment on that towards the end of the pod because we've got some Patreon shout outs to do and some questions to answer as well from some of our beloved patrons, because we've had a bit of a run of special episodes recently, haven't we? I'm still recovering from ILM last time. What was that about?
Wow, I know, amazing. It's interesting as well because I'm talking to a lot of friends of mine and telling them about that episode, and as soon as that drops live, they are ready to listen.
Oh, nice.
I kind of feel that's going to kind of branch out a little bit like the chat we had with Brian, you know, and the overlap with Star Wars and Transformers. I feel that the ILM one will branch out into a kind of wider group and conversation and stuff as well. Because
I hope so. I was really proud of that. It was just great. Such an honor.
They're just lovely people, weren't they? It's really nice. And the feedback on the Patreon's been really nice as well, just hearing everybody chatting about it.
Yeah.
And their take from it. So.
The number of people on our Patreon that have said that they want to be best friends with Amy, I think is really quite lovely.
That was lovely. Yeah, totally.
All really 3 of them were absolutely wonderful.
They were, just wonderful.
First.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful guests. Really, I would love to have them back on, honestly, any of them. So, you know, we'll have to see, won't we, another day. We've got some other big guests coming up in 2025 as well, so there's a lot to look forward to in the road ahead.
When you say guests, do you mean gestalts?
Yeah. Jests.
Jests.
Really good jests up ahead.
It's a guest.
Yeah.
I mean,
gestalts.
Not to spoil things, but I suppose for 100, you could sort of make that claim.
What, for the guests? Oh, a gestalt of guests. Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say who. We've got a double act joining us for episode
they
100, don't we?
To make absolute magic on a page.
Yeah,
so
a combination.
See.
A duo.
Oh my, that is going to be a long episode.
The Pepsi and Shirley of Transformers.
You're right.
No, the Pepsi and
Vimto.
Is that it? Or Pepsi and Shirley, all right.
The Iron and Brew.
It's either going to be the best episode we've ever done, or it's going to be the worst episode that we've ever done. I can't decide which.
God, they are the rum and Diet Coke, aren't they?
They really are.
Yeah, they are.
We know which way round that goes.
Yeah,
they really are. I'm looking forward to it. We won't say who it is just yet, but We've got something planned for episode 100. I think it's going to be pretty good fun.
It's
fantastic. Pretty good fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah, same. But for tonight, here to talk about combiners and all of that good stuff. And I think this kind of came out, didn't it? Because we were just talking earlier about, like, what are we going to talk about? And we sort of said that actually with the new Superion, the Age of the Primes Superion, that's, just recently been unveiled and is kind of on everybody's mind right now, we've all sort of noticed that there's been a lot of chatter online about combiners in general, and more specifically how combiners are done, like the method with which they're produced, because the new Superion obviously uses a kind of shell, if you will, like a sort of, like a fake torso and fake body, basically, doesn't it? Which
dungarees.
Like a pair of dungarees, yeah, exactly, which all of the smaller bots kind of plug into, including the main bot, including the silver bolt. And that obviously has its merits in some people's eyes, but it also has many, many detractors as well. There are many people that don't like that for whatever reason. And, there are more kind of old school combiners that are doing the rounds as well. So it was really just to kind of chat through that and what makes a good combiner, good and bad. And is there a better way of doing it, a perfect way of doing it, a less desirable way of doing it, and sort of go from there. What do we think, chaps?
I like it. I really like the Superion. I felt like I was like in a crowd of one when those first images dropped, because I was like, I like it, but like all I saw was kind of fairly negative responses, and about the nicest I saw was quite tepid.
Yes,
I
that's
thought
fair.
It looked great. And I posted on the Cabal page when they posted a picture, and I said that I think I'm the only person who seems to like this. And the comments I got back were, yeah, pretty sure you are. But I think,
oh, really?
And
wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I think now, wow. I think it's turning. Like I said, didn't I? When we spoke, I said all it will take is once people start seeing better in-hand photos of it.
Yep.
And now we're seeing Mark Mayer's putting some pictures up, and people are like, oh, actually, that's really nice. And it's like, that's exactly what was always going to happen. And I really like it. I think it's nice. Cool.
I agree with you completely. I think it looks good. Honestly, it looks like Superion from the cartoon, and given that that's how they'd already done Menasor, I kind of feel like that's what we should have all expected Superion to look like. I don't know.
Well, exactly.
It's different as well. Like, I know people will say, well, it looks like a cartoon, and that's fine. It does look like a cartoon. That's cool. But it's not that. For me, it's the fact that it's not a Superion I've owned, where it's like Scramble City or Combiner Wars or Energon. They've all done it differently. Like, and the third-party ones, what was that? I can't remember what it's called. The third-party one, which was the knocked-off versions of the Combiner Wars ones.
Jujiang Jet Commander.
Yeah, them guys. Bad Juju.
Them
Juju Tiki Bar. Them guys, yeah.
Jason, it was called Goo Gang Jet Commander.
Wait a second. Now you're just trying to confuse me. That is a J.
Goo Dolls.
I know the difference between a J and a G.
Oh, do you? Oh, you do? Okay. Oh, you do you?
I do.
You do.
I do. But I think it does something different to those things. And so I know people will probably go, third party's already done that, and that's fine. This is in terms of official stuff, and it's just a different one. There'll be another one in a few years that'll be different again, and that's fine. I enjoy having different versions of this and seeing which one I like the most. It's cool.
I tell you what, I like it. I like it for the fact that we're getting different, like, engineering for these combiners. And imagine if we just got the kind of G1 style combiner pegs still now. Because let's be honest, when I was a kid and I was looking at those, I was like, why is his head so tiny? Because there's a reason for that, obviously, so they can peg in. And it always made the robots look a bit odd until they were combined together. So for us to, like, Combiner Wars, love that line, really good, really nice way that it combined. And I'm a sucker for combiners at the best of times anywhere, even like Unite Warriors Devastator. I absolutely love that figure. And there's not much in it, but it is just a really nice, substantial, fun figure to transform in each mode and put together. But the main thing for these new line is I just really like the way it looks. I think, was it you, Liam, that just said that, like, it looks like the cartoon mold, and it's got that. And there was some posing that someone had done recently as well. It might not have been the best pose in the world, I think, by the designer, but it's gonna be that it's potentially, like Menasor had, it's going to give us the opportunity to just do a little bit more with the figure in a combined mode, which I think is really nice. So I'm all in for it. I think it's a really nice.
It's new.
Yeah,
that's what you want. Like, these toys now, Transformers, they're like football shirts. Like every year or two, it changes and there's a new one. And it's
You
the same
had
with
to
most
get it
characters.
in there, didn't you? You had to get it in there.
What, a football reference?
Yeah.
I've got loads of them, don't
I
you
love
worry.
the idea. Superion with a Nottingham Forest shirt on.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. Your next show.
Don't get him started.
Oh, Champions League, baby. But what I mean though is like football shirts, they change they used to be every 2 years, now it's every year. But they just do, and it moves on, and people complain, and then the next one comes out, and everyone's forgotten. And this is what happens with toys. Every few years, there's a new version of the same character done slightly differently or very differently, and everyone just moves on. You know,
I completely agree with that.
It still exists.
Yeah,
but
I do think that there's a sort of
change.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do think that there's a sort of and it's not universal when I say this. I'm going to caveat this before I say it because there are obviously people in our age group in the fandom who don't take this approach and still complain about everything. But I do think that for us, as a sort of older fans, I'm using that term loosely because obviously Jason is a little bit out in yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, but
I'm like Starscream from the movie Shattering.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, you're still using internet terminology circa 2001,
True.
So but as the sort of the older guard, if you will, I think that we've seen enough now that we've sort of had our years of complaining about everything on release to the point where actually we realise that a lot of stuff is just what it is, and if you don't like some stuff, you sort of move past it, and even the stuff that you sort of complained about at the time, actually, maybe it kind of comes good once you sort of reconsider it or see it in hand, or actually even some stuff doesn't land initially, but then like a couple of years later, you maybe reappraise it and think, oh, actually, this is not so bad. And I think certainly for me now, I know I've got to the stage that most stuff, people often say to me, oh, you're pretty positive about most things. And I'm like, no, I've just sort of learned to give things the benefit of the doubt, if anything, because actually 9 times out of 10 things are not as bad as they sometimes first appear. Like, you can look at stuff and nitpick it to all hell on the computer screen, but actually given half a chance, a lot of these toys are pretty decent, and they have some merit outside of what they maybe appear to have or whatever. There's always a logic that's gone into them to give them some sort of functionality or life or something that, as you said, Liam, makes them a bit unique or a bit different or
do you think then that that's an expectation on people's parts where they're disappointed because they haven't got exactly what they want? And I think it's kind of because these things are coming, and then I suppose you build it up in your mind, but it seems to come out a lot faster online. But I assume that's because everything's an instant reaction. So the second someone sees it again, oh, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. It sucks, and it's like it doesn't suck. It's just not for you.
I think
it's exactly
it
might be, and then it always comes around.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have high hopes for a lot of the new releases, and I think a lot of people are disappointed maybe if when the releases are unveiled, if they're not everything they wanted it to be, because they're not yet in the world of like, well, actually this character will get redone in the next 5 to 10 years anyway, so what does it really matter in the grand scheme? You know what I mean? Like if you've seen, if you've been around since 1986 and you've seen however many Superions, this is just another Superion, really, isn't it? Like, it looks really good and it does do something really different. So I'm not taking that away from it at all. But it's not. This isn't your one. Like, oh my god, a Superion! It's got to be perfect. It's like actually to from my perspective, there's something quite nice about it, whether it has flaws or not. Adding something new to the sort of list of Superions that we've seen over the last 40 years, if that sort of makes sense. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, totally.
I think it gets lost a little bit because it looks like an old thing, because it looks like the cartoon. I think people, they feel like they've seen it before. And in toy form, we haven't. And there's something on this thing that I found really nifty. And it's something that I've always not complained about, but always pointed out it's not there. And it's his arm cannon, from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Even the third parties ignore this.
Fans Toys did it. Toys did it, and it looks really good. But it's it's Fans Toys.
Fans Toys.
It's Fans Toys.
No one cares about them, guys.
Yeah, it's actually really good. The Fans Toys Superion, I will say,
overpriced rubbish.
All credit to them. It's really good. It weighs a ton. Like it's ridiculous.
QC stickers have been left on it for some inexplicable
15.
reason.
It's that many QC checks all over it. It's just covered in stickers. You got an additional box
QC,
full of the little
QC.
screen stickers. Exactly.
QC on the box And the polystyrene as well. Yeah, exactly.
It's an actual workout to lift the thing as well. Like it's so much heft, But it is actually pretty good. It does look really nice, and it has some good functionality, I will say.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. The arm cannon is cool.
Does it do the same thing though? Does it do the dungarees on that version?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a little bit more involved to it because it's not. So you've got like the Zeta Superion third party, which is just literally like a torso that Silverbolt kind of plugs in the back, and the arms and legs go on pretty much as you would expect. Whereas the Fans Toys one,
but with aerial bots,
a bit like that. Yes, Tetris aerial bots. But the Fans Toys one, if anything, is a little bit more complicated because some of the bits of the torso split apart and kind of put together in different ways. It's kind of hard to explain. But I was surprised by how much there is to it. Actually, it's an evening's work to put it into combined mode. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
a solid evening's work, but fun in its way. But you're not going to want to do it every night.
Right. Yeah.
But back to the arm cannon. So Mark confirmed this in one of the photos, and it was pretty obvious because you could see there was a peg hole on both shoulders, so you knew it was there. But it's actually nice to see that, and it's not something I'm that fussed about, but it's just something new to experience on a toy. I think just to be able to just do it and be able to, like, it's a very minor thing, but it's like, oh, cool, yeah, there we go, we can do that. And it was obvious from how long the gun was and that there was a port there, but to see it, it's just kind of fun. It feels like giving something new to the toys.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Honestly,
it's I didn't actually notice that, Liam, to be completely honest. You said about that.
It's only in one of the photos.
Yeah. It's nice. This is the thing, right? We got to remember that what is the purpose of this toy? Okay? It's a toy. Okay? And it's fun. And this is what I always come back to. But, it's like the way
he's
that
not a serious collector, Sixo.
No, he's not, is he?
This is serious business.
I want to play with my
SRS.
Transformers. I want to be swooshing these planes around.
Fun is a buzzword, Jason. Yeah. Fun is, as I was told very succinctly on YouTube in the comments once, having fun. That's what that's a serious collector attitude.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to be a proper grown up.
That guy's happy.
No fun. Yeah. No fun if you're an adult.
These are. Well, it's why when you're collecting fans toys, they're not actually toys. They're adult collectibles for men.
I bet that guy is the kind of guy who goes to a party and checks for the fire exits and all that. Checks everything's in working order. That
drinks everyone else's beer.
Do you have a permit for this?
Possibly. Yeah. Fun sponge. Yeah.
Chug.
Sponge. I know.
Different kind of chug.
Hey. Different kind of chug.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? Right? I'm most likely going to pick these up in Smiths. That's probably where I'm going to get them because they're gonna get released. I'm probably going to
kicking small children out of the way.
Get out of the way. It's my fun children, and I'm buying them all.
Old grannies just asking you if you're buying for your grandchildren, that kind of thing.
It's because he's so tall. He just holds them above all the kids. Like,
I'm the only one that can reach the Transformers. Yeah. They don't provide that little step trolley thing at all in my Smiths, so that I can just. That's where they had the Studio Series Prime. It was only at Jason height, so I could reach up for it. Which is why I got the last. 2. I didn't buy 2. I bought 1. But yeah, this is gonna be on the shelf.
What?
There was 2 Studio Series Primes, Liam. That's what it was, and I only bought them both. But I had a moment of guilt. That's what it was. But yeah, this Superion it's going to be the same as it was for me with Combiner Wars, which were for the Motomaster set for Menasor was just a really lovely set of cars. Great fun, really solid combined mode. Not my favorite combiner, if I'm honest, because they were quite obviously just cars they're sitting there, and that's what I really like about this new set that they've released for both Motomaster but also for Superion as well. Is that we're getting some really lovely individual bots that look like great. Those head sculpts just look so good. But what they've then done just to allow you to slot these in and we can swap them out with other stuff as well, right? We can bring in...
Well, you can, yeah.
We saw in the pictures.
Yeah, that looks lovely.
I would have liked it if there was the option to reverse the legs so you could have the jets and the cars on the front, because I get that they're going for the cartoon, but I think for me personally, they end up just looking a bit flat. So, with no...
I do agree. The weird thing is...
the option.
Yeah, the weird thing here, I think, is that you see this a lot where people are like, oh, it'd be cool if they could put, the cars and the jets on the front of the knees, on the shins, that kind of stuff. But actually, it was always that way on the toys, everything. Yeah. It's not just a cartoon thing. Like, even in G1, the jets always face that way around. I think there's some very early prototype pictures of Superion. Like before, it really looks like Superion with the jets facing forwards, and then after that, it's always been to the back.
I think it's only really in the nominal placements as we know them. I think it's only really Nose Cone who goes the other way, isn't it? Who goes
there's a
Fake away
lot
with the thing pointing.
face. Yeah, I'm trying to look over. Protector Bots streetwise is kind of to the front, isn't it?
Yeah,
he does. That's true.
Yeah, and Combaticons Brawl. You got the front of the tank facing forwards, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, but that's because it's his chest, though, isn't it? Is he not still in robot mode?
Oh,
hang on. Where's the gun? Is the gun on his shin?
The turret faces forwards, doesn't it?
Yeah, so he is that way around.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, certainly looking at Menasor, shins are just the front of the robots, stuff like that. But it's the fact that you can swap them around on G1, isn't it? On the G1 toys, you can have them the other way around.
Well, it's not even that. It's I think with these ones, I think it's because of the way the shins work now. They're those very flat panels. It's not like the undersides of the car, because the undersides of the car are hollow parts where you would just see through, and it wouldn't look very nice anyway. So they've just created this kind of flat sort of shin.
They're like little doors, aren't they? That kind of fold.
Yeah. So they swing open, but I think I would just I would like to have them the way to have the option, I suppose. I saw someone say, and I did understand this, was that when those little doors are folded out to make the shin, it kind of looks, because they're slightly recessed, it looks like something should plug in there. Yeah.
And I do understand that. Just visually, it looks like
there's something missing.
Something maybe would go there, but it doesn't. Yeah. And so I think if it was just flat somehow without the sort of recess part, then maybe people wouldn't be having that sort of disconnect with it or whatever. But it is what it is. I mean, it's what we said earlier. I understand why they've gone the route that they have. I think this is something different. It is something, this kind of shell combiner thing is something that we've seen a lot in the third-party world. I think it's inevitable that it was going to be attempted by Hashtag at some point, and lo and behold, here it is. And I think they've done it pretty well, actually. Like, I like the solution for the little kind of additional bit on the back of the jet. I think that's pretty fun, actually. Like, they've done it quite creatively.
It works for me as a guy who's... one of the reasons I've always loved Silverbolt is that bit under the bottom.
Right.
Because he doesn't look like just a normal plane then. It's like, it's very... I grew up with Robotech and stuff like that, where they have fast packs and bits bolted on. And so when I used to see the bit underneath Silverbolt, there's a great drawing by, I think it's Studio Ox, and you see him and he's zooming away, and it just always looks like it's like a booster section underneath him. Yeah. And I like that about the jets a little bit more, rather than when they just look like planes, because planes look cool from the top and the sides, but underneath they're very boring. There's nothing.
Are they a bit plain?
Jeez.
Whoa. God, I'm on the other side of this today.
It's right there, man. I'm amazed you didn't go for it. You know, it was low-hanging fruit.
I'm amazed I wasn't setting up for it.
I was like waiting for you to take it. I was like, come on. It's right there. Wow. Claim your prize. You know, you've set it up.
Oh my goodness!
And then when you didn't, I was like, "Well, if he's not going to go."
It's the fact you leaned into the mic as well.
I know. I know. That's what Liam does. I'm just following his technique.
It's true.
I've got nothing.
It's just there we go. All right, well, that's the episode done. Thanks very much. That was episode 97. See you next time.
Here's a thought, though, right? We've got this mode, and this is it's not a curveball, right? But what about G2?
Oh, this means it's actually going to be a curveball.
No, it's not.
It's when he says it's not a curveball.
It's not a curveball. It's just that we could.
He's talking about Unicron or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, man.
Yeah, he could be a combiner
next.
Yeah. Well, they're combiners. I know that much. But no, we could get. What we've got G2 colors coming into this.
So I actually nearly asked this, because they're doing the G2 Stunticons now. They've not done... I thought it was interesting that actually one of Mark Mayer's picks, because he's released all his Instagram pics, which are always brilliant, I think, but he's really good at posing the stuff and kind of showing it off. And I thought it was interesting that he's got a comparison shot of Superion and Menasor, but he's got the G2 Stunticon cars on the G1 Menasor body. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I imagine that's what he's got to hand, though, isn't it?
Probably.
A lot of his comparison shots tend to be stuff that is kind of quite recent stuff.
Yes. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I'm sure that's why it was. I thought it was interesting only because, I've got to tell you, looking at the pics that he's posted of the Superion and all that now, pretty sure I'm going to get this, first of all. But also, it has kind of made me look back at Motormaster and Menasor and that and think, be quite fun to
saw that. I'm enjoying your kind of like going backwards into stuff like that. I feel like we should be doing something on that because it's like, oh, he's getting to all the generation stuff.
Do you know what I looked at today that I Googled and I looked at and I thought, maybe Siege Jetfire.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good figure. Oh,
I know, right?
You've changed. Who is this?
I don't know.
He's shedding his third party. He's got room again. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's going to start talking about sports soon.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know who he is.
Too far.
Yeah, Come on, you Reds. Yeah, exactly.
It's the right thing to say. But
up the forest, and
it's an interesting toy, like the Menasor. I like that toy a lot. I like the Combiner Wars though. In the end, like after a while, I just thought it was fun. The Combiner mode looks really strange, but once you mess with it and play with it, it was loads of fun.
Yeah, there's a ton of fun with those. Yeah.
But this new one is way better as well. Again. So.
I do think it looks really fun. I've always thought the combine mode looks really good, and the individuals look really good as well. The Motormaster truck mode, I always thought was a little bit short.
But it's a bit too short, I think. Yeah.
But other than that, I think the set looks really good. Honestly, if they do Superion in G2 colors, that would be quite something as well.
That'd be superb.
Quite into that, but
yeah,
I'm not going to wait around for that.
But... one where they did it.
I have seen it. Yeah, it looks good.
It's nice.
Nice.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's the thing.
G2 Power Glide.
The thing about Combiner Wars, though, except for the weapons, but they were. Was there? Although there was little feet bits, weren't there as well? That you had to clip on, but
yeah,
there wasn't. It was they were. You could combine it and you could stand it without adding all the bits on, right? And it worked. It was very solid, and I kind of loved that for the fact that it just really did embrace this massive robot is the combination of all of these, like military vehicles or cars or whatever, and it didn't shy away from that. So you had like bonnets flipped down in front of it, which going back to the G1 stuff was very much how it looked and stuff like that.
But the G1 stuff had add-on parts, doesn't it? And I think that's what these and what the third party stuff's been doing for years. They all feel like, I think, spiritual successors to the vintage toys, which all had chest shields or add-on hands and feet and stuff like that. I like the Combiner War stuff as well, but I kind of like having a mix and being able to sort of experience the whole lot.
That is exactly it for me, is the mix, because that's what I think is often lost in this debate, and that's kind of what I suppose I wanted to get to. The kind of nub of all of this is that oftentimes when you hear this debate, something about combiners and the nature of the way these toys combine really seems to rile people up on the internet. I've seen this, I was going to say debate, but argument, frankly, because people get so heated about it. I've seen it so many times about the third-party stuff and now the official stuff, but people get really like, one method, whatever it is that they don't like, is trash, and that this thing is so much better, and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm often just sat there on the sidelines like, isn't it kind of cool that we have all of these options, though? Like, isn't it nice that you get some that are like all in one, that are like no parts forming, and you get others that actually are a bit of a mix, and you get some like what we're now seeing with Age of the Primes and the Menasor that go the kind of shell route as well. And there's no one take that is like completely definitive. They all have their advantages and disadvantages, I would say, in some regards. But you can choose then, right? And like, just I don't know. Seems to me good to have options.
That's it. If you put the Combiner Wars Superion next to this new Age of Primes, you could if someone didn't know, you could argue that they are different characters because of the way that they look. But that's also what I love about it, in the fact that they've got this kind of different, like the Combiner Wars one is very it's quite massive actually when you look at it as well, and just the style of it and the way that it's done is really different to what we've got with Age of Primes. I will always buy a new combiner because I'm a total sucker for them as well. I love them for the engineering part of it, from the design part of it, for the characters. I always just think that they have a really special place in my collection all the way through, and I drop into every single version of that. And I remember when the Combiner Wars stuff came out as well, that it's always Menasor that I buy first, because that was what goes back to my youth. But I just really liked the fact that they were bringing something different into what we had previously as well.
Right.
And I don't understand this as well when people are kind of slagging off the Combiner Wars version because they don't like it. Because as you say, Sixo, there are multiple different versions across all different providers, so you can get the one that suits your want.
Well,
you know,
I think this is it. But it's almost like people treat this debate as like parts forming or no parts forming or whatever. But that even in itself, I don't really understand why it's so controversial, because, you know, as you guys were alluding to, parts forming has been a thing on these combiners since day one. I mean, Devastator, the original, has a pair of pants that come in the box that you have to kind of clip all the other bits.
It's a lot of clipping on that guy.
Yeah, fake forearms. You know, that fake. I use that word, you know, because they're not fake. They're there, but, you know, people call them fake.
They're real
whatever.
Forearms.
Yeah, they are real. They do exist. Yeah, you don't have to. They're not just like bits of cardboard. But, you know, it's obviously got a lot of like plug-on parts and things. You know, a little hip skirt thing, the chest plate. It's, as I say, a whole pair of pants that the legs clip onto. You know, if you look at stuff like the original Menasor, you know, it's got the car bra. The kind of car bra in the front, the pants again, you know, clip on, the feet, the hands, the face, all of that is kind of, you know, I remember Defensor was a weird one because the head was integrated with Hotspot, and that was like a novelty because it's like you've got the big man head built into the main robot, which even in the back in the day, it was like, whoa,
satisfying as well.
When you see that, you're like, oh, yeah, totally. That was so cool.
So cool.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
You've got stuff like in G1, for me, a lot of people hold up like Lyokaiser as being like the ultimate combiner because supposedly it's non-parts forming, you know, all the bits are built in and the hands and the feet are built in, but the head is still a separate piece. So, you know,
there's always a bit. Yeah.
There's always something, you know, and I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but the only non-parts forming bots that I can think of combiner-wise in Transformers officially are the MPG train bots.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you've combined them, Jason.
Right. We'll just quickly chat about this right now because obviously this is on my to-do list very much. You'll be glad to know.
To play with your £700 toy.
Yes, that amongst my other purchases of late, which are just a mountain of boxes. But anyway, I did go into the new robot room, over the weekend because we were sorting stuff out. I decided to do a little search around the boxes and can confirm there are no train bots in this property. So they are they are still, so they must have been packed and put back in my ex-wife's house.
Untrained eye.
Honestly, I've lost. I thought I'd lost 2 or 3. I'd lost count now. Anyway, yeah. So the train bots are. I've heard that there's no parts forming there.
But even Takara kind of gave up on that a little bit because they added a waist piece for.
Well, that is true, actually.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
You're right,
yeah,
because they did the full set.
In face of mounting criticism.
Yeah, they did the full set, and everyone kind of went, "Nah, bro," and then they were like, "Oh, we'll have a waist piece." Yeah, exactly. Just have this little additional add-on piece. But that it's I suppose it's an interesting one because a lot of people, 2 of whom are on this podcast, and 1 who refuses to admit the facts of the case, despite not being able to find the trains in his own house, you know, would look at that and say, you know, there's no parts forming on that, and the individuals are really fantastic.
It's a great achievement.
Really, really lovely. But the combined mode it's a bit of a hot mess. You know, like it's not, it's faulty. Like it
achieves something.
It
does. It doesn't mean it looks great at the same time. Like you can respect what it does. Like I look at it and go, yeah, they've done really well on it. And it's not like it looks bad either. It looks all right. But it's not like something you look at and go, whoa, that is cool. You look at it and go, man, I'm impressed. It does all the stuff it does. That's great.
Exactly.
Like because the Ocular Max, the third party stuff, they do it as well. And that to me, like when I saw the Bruticus for the first time, that was another one. I remember when that first came, I was like, oh, this looks really good. And loads of people going, oh no, doesn't look as good as this Zeta Toys. Was it Zeta Toys?
Zeta,
like
yeah.
Everyone's like, oh no, this looks terrible. Then again, once more pictures came out, everyone was like, actually, this looks like it could be quite fun. And it's like, dude, just give things a chance.
Well, exactly. Although I will say with the Ocular Max Bruticus, it is really good. I do like the non-parts forming thing.
But like the feet that they gave it.
Exactly. Then it comes with a pair of additional slippers that once you put them on, I got to tell you, it's 10 times better. The proportions are suddenly better. The feet look better. It's more stable.
But what we're saying here, I think, speaks to what the actual kernel of the problem is, the truth. And I think we talk about it as if there's a perfection. Like we go, you know, it looks great, does everything fine, but it looks way better with these extra bits. And I think that's, and I think this is where the problem for people comes in, because they look at something and go, "That's not perfect. It sucks." There's no sort of in between of like, it's not exactly what I wanted. It doesn't achieve everything. It still looks kind of cool. It's mostly, no, that's terrible. Blah blah blah.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because back, and I think but we're doing that here. I think we're doing the same thing. Like when I was talking about, when we were all talking about the train guy a minute ago, Raiden, and we were both there. We're all there going, it looks fine, but it's like, it does look fine. It looks better with an extra piece, and that's great. It does, but that doesn't. I don't think it diminishes what those toys do originally. And there'll be people who prefer those ways. It's different for everybody, isn't it?
I will totally agree with your opinion. I will acknowledge that you are singing a slightly different tune to when we did a mini-sode on that set, where you were championing its demise. But
that's what I'm not saying anything that I think doesn't bad that up in a way, because I'm not disputing that. I don't think it looks good. It's not for me. I think I get what you're saying. I don't think the finished thing looks like a terrible thing. You know what I mean? Like a really awful failure. It doesn't fail to look like what it's supposed to look like. I think it does very.
Is it an engineering
job of
issue?
Yeah, but for me, it's not something that I look at and go, man, that looks amazing. I need to
It's not garbage. It's not trash. It's not any of the sort of hyperbolic words that people would use. I know I called it a hot mess.
It's for people like Maz and Jason,
right? That's true. Train lovers.
Well,
totally.
Jason, if you can find them.
Yeah, exactly. There is a bit here as well, though, which is about when. Like Transformers fans, and what you want from your Transformer is like, do you want a Transformer that is entirely contained, has all the parts in there, and you want to be able to transform it all, and you don't want to have to parts form, okay? That is like the kind of purist, if you like. That's what you want. I've got a friend who had G1 Transformers when he was a kid, and I remember him telling me that he's like, I love the Transformers like Soundwave that just, had everything. That you could just, except for the guns, but had everything that would just.
That's what I mean. There's always an except, but there's always
they were the batteries, though.
Yeah, they were the batteries.
But they did go inside, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, exactly.
In the clip,
but it was that kind of thing where it kind of, and he's.
They go to missiles.
That's true. That's true. There is the missiles as well. But it was that thing about like, I can understand why he said that as well, because he became an animator and he loved that fact that you could kind of recreate the animation. It was like everything was there, so you could have that play value, and that was it. You didn't need to suddenly grab something from off camera and proxy it in or something like that. But then the issue with that is, like we're talking about, is you're gonna have gaps. You're not gonna be able to engineer every single part into that to fill it out to make it look like a kind of bulking, kind of big, strong robot. It's going to be
completely agree.
Like the Combiner Wars one is, it's going to have gaps, right?
With that weird looking Minosaur.
Yeah, that's your compromise, isn't it? And that's kind of, I think that's the core of this, is like, which version of transformation do you appreciate and enjoy? And then that's the kind of way you want to go. Yeah, where's the line?
Yeah, I think it is. It's exactly that. Where's the line?
Where do you draw it personally, and what do you accept? Because you see a lot of people who are, they'll be like, oh, I want them all to combine with no extra parts, but I'm all right with the hands and feet. And it's like, when did that become an established thing? Time moves on, because of the vintage toys, they had chest shields and heads that popped on, as well as hands and feet. Then you get to Combiner Wars. Well, actually, you get to Energon, where they didn't even have hands and feet. They had those weird laser things.
Exactly.
Let's not bring those back. That was terrible.
They were terrible.
They don't stand up.
But I think it's become the thing where, again, I think we're so well served with things that appeal to us, that everybody, that it's becoming like, when you see something, you're disappointed instead of being like, oh, cool, that's not for me. And it's you want that perfect thing each time. And I think that's what people are after with the combiners. They're like, oh, it doesn't do this for you. It's like, doesn't do it for you. It does it for me. That's fine. But I think there's a, just wait a few years. Another one will come along. They'll do it.
I completely agree with everything you're saying. And Jason, I think you're right, that it's almost like the levels to which some of these toys have to work around not parts forming. Like if you hold up, it mustn't parts form. It's like the absolute ideal. You have to bake in a lot of compromise sometimes to make that happen.
Reality.
Yeah, exactly. The
physical
reality of how things move.
Yeah.
Like, it's when you see, the one for me is like the floating heads that you get sometimes. Like you see it on things like Masterpiece Hound has this to an extent, but I'm also thinking of like the way you've seen some of the Jinrai options being done. With like the head on the old school toy is a separate piece that just plugs in. But on a lot of the third party, and I think on the Masterpiece as well, I've seen that. I've not got it in hand yet, but I think that's how it does it, is that it folds down and it's like on a little armature, and now
it goes over onto the
right.
Yeah,
exactly. I remember Fans Hobby did it this way, whereas like a ridiculously long arm that kind of has to extend and fold round from the backpack to kind of get the head, like a really flimsy little arm. And even on the new one, I've seen people complaining because they can't get the head plugged in properly, because of the way it folds down. And I'm like, wow, that's a ridiculous amount of complication for something that could have just been a separate piece. Like it could have just existed
totally.
as a separate piece. Everyone's lives would have been easier, but because for some reason we have to have it not parts form, it like we're going to create this. Do you know what I mean? Like this complication,
this overcomplicated bit of engineering. Yeah.
Exactly.
The one bit where it worked for me was in Combiner Wars for Defensor, where it was on his ladder, and he flipped it round, and then his head was part of that, which was a nod to the original G1, but it was it worked really well because it kind of fanned out and it had all these bits that clipped it together, and it made the combined mode a lot more solid. But you got away with it because he's a fire truck and he's got this big extendable ladder. So you kind of like, this makes sense, right? So then it's like aesthetically, you're thinking about the engineering behind it and how it looks. And some of them work better than others. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, Superion's was excellent.
It was
inside the chest. Which would split apart for to form the chest shield.
His head would flip out.
Just flip the head out on the little armature. Really well done, that.
Which is also interesting because in that era of combiner-ness, the thing then was that they weren't trying to make them look like the cartoon or any kind of particular reference. It was its own thing. So it could look like anything as long as, the head was sort of the right shape and it vaguely had the right silhouette or something. Do you know what I mean?
Whereas the colours and a few homage details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like now in the sort of, the modern era, Age of the Primes, people like Mark actually, if anything, I feel like they've got their work cut out for them because people want it to look like a very specific reference. It's supposed to look cartoon accurate, and yet somehow it's got to be fun and engaging and do all of these other things as well.
This is what we were talking about the other day on I don't even know where we were talking about it. We had this exact conversation, didn't we?
Right.
About accuracy. And I think this is what
Yeah.
drives it. If you try to make something look like something in particular, like with Masterpiece, when they're like, it's got to look exactly like the cartoon, and then it doesn't because of little compromises you still have to make, it magnifies all of those things. So when you look at this and you see little things that are not like the cartoon, you're like, well, it's trying to look like the cartoon. So it's obviously not landing it 100% if that's its goal. Whereas when I think the way you should look at it is it is looking like the cartoon, but within reason. There's still a little bit of room either side to do something different and new and appreciate that this is a retail toy. Because you're not going to be paying 100 and something quid for each jet, are you? And people aren't that willing.
I think that is also a big part of it, is that people forget the sort of budget that we're talking about with some of this stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a cheap toy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's like, bargain basement or anything. But particularly when it comes to the arm bots and stuff, they're not expensive.
Deluxes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
they will be deluxes.
Really, let's get our reality heads on here a little bit. Like the kind of budget that we're talking about here and whatever else. But and I do think that the modern era, they're a little bit more hampered by the fact that everything is looking to the past. Whereas if you design some of this stuff from the ground up, and let's say this was a new combiner, new character who'd never been seen before, and you were making it out of whichever vehicles, you probably wouldn't do it in this way, right? Like you'd make it some other way that was really fun and engaging and no holds barred, go nuts, And I think we haven't seen that in a while, which is why this specific era is sort of so weird. And actually, funnily enough, I have just thought of another set of non-parts forming combiners that did exist, and I can't believe I didn't think of this before, but there are 3 that I've just thought of. And number 1, JRX.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
very good point. Yeah,
excellent.
Maz will have been shouting that.
Yeah, he will, won't he? By now, if he's listening, he'll be like, "You mother." But yeah, there's a very good.
I hope you choke.
Yeah, certainly a very good set of train lads, 3 of them, and then of course in Beast Wars you had Tripredicus and you had Magnaboss.
Yeah, of course. We talked about that recently.
That guy.
Yeah, exactly. Now the weapons parts form, they kind of, but they're made up of the individual weapons, so I don't really count that. I don't think anybody surely would begrudge that as like parts forming. Do you know what I mean?
I think Shirley would.
Shirley might. I don't know. She's a bit of a stickler. Old Shirley. But, it has happened, actually, at retail level. It has been done.
The retail part of this is important to remember, though. And also, Hasbro are having to think about the fact that this is a line that we started with Menasor and the Motomasters. Now we're getting Superion. We can assume, well, we've got Devastator as well, although that doesn't... is that going to be able to... Is that using the same system as well?
No. It looks like a very different system.
Yeah, very different. Yeah.
But the kind of the main teams, if you like, are going to be interchangeable. So they're having to think about that as well. And, just purely on a kind of business level for Hasbro, that's a lot of planning and a lot of tooling to kind of just go, all right, we're going to make all these different versions of these bots that are going to work and be interchangeable so that if one kid buys each version, it's all going to combine together, which is going to be cool, right? And it's going to be exactly why I want to get it, so I can muck around it on that level. And we're all getting that for what? It's probably going to be about like 26 quid for those smaller figures, I guess, 27 quid, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then we got Superion, which as well, worth a mention, that plane mode looks cool. I think it was you, Liam, that said, did you say in a tweet or something, that it's looking like a Concorde for once as well?
It is a Concorde, yeah.
Yeah. It is actually a Concorde, Jason.
Yeah, no, totally. But that's the point, because, previously it's been kind of just this kind of not Concorde thing, like a jet thing.
It's got its little elements just to try and nudge it slightly away, I think. Like I noticed the little lights along the side, they kind of go up a little bit, and I think there's little things done just to make it sort of licensing appropriate more.
Okay, then. Should we call it that? So British Airways won't look too closely. Okay, then.
So would you say it's working for you, Jason? Would you say it struck a Concorde?
Oh, no! Oh, dear. Why have you two swapped roles tonight? This is confusing me,
I don't get it. What was it? What?
Has it struck a Concorde?
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Yeah. And now he's not getting the puns. This is... Well, this is like some fever dream for 2025,
But Jason, would you get then this one and a G2 one if they did a G2 one? So then you could have the flight of the Concords.
Oh, there we go. There we go. He's back on. Everything is normal. Thank goodness. Yes.
Yeah. He's reset the balance there. That's the thing.
I know exactly. Anyway, there's an at.
I have one job.
One thing that did occur to me, actually, talking about the G2 ones and that, is because I was looking, as I say, I did start looking at the Menasor, and I did start seriously thinking this thing would be fun to own. And I was looking at the Motormaster and just like, actually looks like a really fun toy. But then it occurred to me, because the breakdown, the G1 breakdown, is very hard to find, seemingly still. And I knew that, I had heard that, but yes, I've seen that firsthand of like, ooh, that's a bit of a turn off. Well, there is the box set, but you're talking like the better part of £200 for the box set. So,
really?
Well, dude.
Yeah. So it's not a cheap prospect, that. So it's probably like, if you could get the breakdown for the same price as some of the other limbs, it would be way cheaper to get the individuals, but it's the breakdown that is the kind of consideration. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do. But one thing that did occur to me, would you, either of you, consider mixing and matching with like the G1 and G2 sets?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
No. Yeah. Did you know the difference? Absolutely. Oh, no way.
Oof. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Think of it, Liam.
Well, they're mixing and matching.
Yeah, they're in a battle. They're not going to be like, oh, sorry, you're the wrong colour. No, I can't combine with you.
Why would they be together? They're the same characters. In different outfits. It'd be like you hanging out of yourself because you're wearing different clothes. That don't make sense.
Plus, they're different generations, so they would be at different times, I guess.
That's what I mean. They're the same guys. They wouldn't be together. They wouldn't be
the same guy. Well, now you're getting this is kind of getting a bit lore.
G1, sort of, if there's Stunticons and the robots, yes. G2 Stunticons and G2 Stunticons, no. Different eras.
You surprised me a little bit though, Liam, because you're not normally one to get hung up on like accuracy and that kind of stuff. You know,
lore.
Yeah, it's not that. I just think the G2 stuff has such a unique color palette. It works together.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes when you blend that in, some of those in.
But you could have a minty green breakdown. Like, particularly if it's like 50 quid cheaper. Do you know what I mean? To like stick it in with the G1 set, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, would it?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Worst thing, but
I mean, there are
second worst thing.
Yeah,
but
there are worse things in the world, but not many. Yeah, right.
Think of it like that cool bank manager who just wears a suit but wears a wears a green sparkly
Cool
tie.
What's he on about?
Bank are you going
I
to?
realise there's an oxymoron in a cool bank manager, but it's like that the suit with quirky shoes. That's what you could do, right? But instead it's like an entire
you're
quirky
really,
leg.
Really winning over the 20-year-old crowd with this analogy there, Jason.
To be fair,
honestly.
The G2 Sunticons, a lot of them do look like sort of 80s, early 90s novelty ties, don't
That's
they?
exactly where I'm going for.
The paint designs.
Bank managers.
Yeah.
No, I just
the cool ones.
I think I quite like the way the cars kind of look separately. I don't know.
I must admit, the box set does tempt purely from a sort of aesthetic perspective, because the stripe on Dead End and that kind of stuff does look really nice, but I just don't know, the price of it I don't think is
a lot easier though.
Yeah, well, it would be a lot easier, but
Does it come with any extra parts? Is there anything extra? Or is it just the colours?
It's just
the colours.
Yeah,
on the box.
Yeah,
It's
cardboard.
a gift set.
Cardboard.
That's going to be the one that's value goes up as well. Like all the values are going to go up, but that's going to be the one that particularly soars because it's the one that people were less bothered about now. So
very likely.
Yeah, they do turn up at TFN quite often. You never know. Got TFN Mini coming up.
Maybe, but it's a consideration at this point. I don't know, but I did look at the Motormaster and think that could be fun. But I also quite like the idea of maybe hunting them down over the long term. Do you know what I mean? Finding a sort of cheap secondhand breakdown sometime and just kind of doing it that way. That might be more fun rather than just being like, here's a really expensive box.
It was a funny one with breakdown because I remember when I was getting them and breakdown. I got really confused because it was like I thought Breakdown had been released, but then when I kept checking, it actually got a lot later released than I'd realized, and then it just suddenly appeared. But it was like really quick, and I think that's one that I did find on the shelf in Smith's one day as well. But yeah, I don't know if was there a supply issue with that one or something like that. I don't know.
Was he the last one?
Yeah, it was the last one. Yeah,
I thought it was the first one. Was it not?
No,
because I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe it was because it had two that I missed it. Maybe that was it. Actually, it came out as the first one. I wasn't aware. I think I was moving at the time. Probably, who knows where I was. And then
life events
that's happening. And then it got a re-release. So they did it at the end of the line again as well. Because I definitely got it. Like that was the last one that I got, and I remember it being really tricky to find. I was talking to a friend of ours as well who was trying to find it in Ireland for me. So it was just like the hunt.
I think he was
the
last one in Combiner Wars because I think he was the one that wasn't released here. You remember when Combiner Wars came out and they kept skipping waves, and they would put most of the team in one wave and then one member in the other.
Yeah,
really
that was right.
Like
I forgot I did that. That was frustrating. Yeah, but yeah, there's something fun about finding a combiner in that kind of method. Of just like hunting them down,
exactly. I don't know. It might be something to do. I don't particularly want to just be like, here's a huge lump sum of cash, and what I mean. So it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
Enjoy the hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's more my speed. So we'll see. But it could be fun. But I do think that regardless of opinions on the internet or whatever, I do think these new style combiners are looking pretty tempting. I'm just surprised that there is such a backlash against it because in some ways it sort of feels like the natural extension of where we've been with combiners over the years. I'm not surprised that we've kind of got to this stage, and I feel like at some point we'll go back to more sort of normal combiners, if that makes sense. Like I feel that's inevitable. They'll be redone again.
So it's sort of doing them at the moment with Dino King because we had that,
right?
And he just had the hands and feet, whereas the rest of him is all. Yeah, I suppose the head. I'm not sure if you can count the head because it was one of the tails, I think, or a gun. So got a head buried in there.
Yeah. Well, here's a question then. So from over the years, how many years of Transformers there have been? And I don't know why I'm saying it like that because we know there's been 40. But I think it's been mentioned recently.
Yeah.
What have been, in your minds, the most successful combiners then? Like if you had to pick one or two, whatever it is, what do you think of as like, that one really worked?
So I actually really liked Unite Warriors Devastator.
Agreed. That I really think that toy is excellent, honestly. Like I really, really do. And it's funny because that's an interesting one because people give that thing such a kicking.
Yeah.
And I can never understand why, honestly. Like I swear, I don't want to say this is universally the case because I'm sure it's not, but I swear a lot of the people that don't like it people that haven't held it or owned it or whatever, because honestly, in hand, I think it's really good fun. Or maybe they've had the Combiner Wars version and, the elbows and that sort of stuff. But for me, I've only ever had the Unite Warriors Japanese version, and I think it's really
I don't think the elbows is really a problem, because I've had both, and I went from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I prefer the fact they have elbows, the Combiner Wars ones not having them never really made much of a difference, because it's only Scrapper Mixmaster as well.
There's only a couple of them, right?
Yeah, but they do them differently. Like, I think they do long holes arms differently, and they are definitely better, but it's not like in a major earth-shattering way. It's just like, that's fine. But then they're both great. They're both really good toys. But yeah, I really like the Unite Warriors one. It was good, but I think what it is, it's got a really unique look to it, and I think it can look a little bit awkward, like in photos. Like the first photos of it, I think were a little bit like, it looks a bit sort of, I don't know. I think you just have to see more photos of it and muck about with it. Like, I loved it. I thought it was great.
I think there's a little bit of that with Superion, to be honest, though, because I think the first pictures that they showed off of the thing, we said this on a minisode the other day, didn't we? Talking about Star Convoy, because they showed it off next to Star Convoy, which is huge, and Superion is shorter. They definitely didn't help it with that, because that's not the way to show off your... Yeah, we talked about this, but it's not the way to show off your new combiner, really, let's be honest. But also, I think if they'd have showed it fully combined from the off, it may have been a little bit more impressive, but showing it as just the shell with the gaps and stuff, I'm not sure
makes
that's
people point straight away.
Yes, it's pointing it out, isn't it, is the thing. Whereas if people just see the finished thing, the full article, ready to go, there's no complaints there then, really, is there? Because it's almost like people are not automatically thinking, well, how does it combine? What's like, how much of it is fake parts? Whereas showing off the shell is sort of front and center, is going, oh, look, this is the way, this is the method, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that then becomes the conversation.
Do you know, it's like turning up without your trousers on. That's what it is, isn't it? Basically, that's what Superion did.
Is it like that?
It's exactly like that.
I mean,
is it?
Yeah.
Are you speaking from real world experience here? Or?
Often, it's a miracle at Laugh TFN that I did. I was fully clothed, I am but a combiner.
I think I kind of want to hear more about that, but also I really don't want to.
No,
so.
But it is that thing of just like, it's like it just made it. He was next to a big, handsome guy, and he was missing bits. It just wasn't the best start to Superion.
It was a bit inauspicious, wasn't it? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was.
But no, I do agree with you. I think on Combiner Wars, Devastator, and all of that, I think it was definitely the in-hand experience. And
it was great.
So it was once I started to see more pictures of it, I must admit, I probably thought it looked a bit awkward to start with as well. But once people started posting photos,
you had it for quite a while, haven't you?
I've still got it. Yeah,
yeah. Because I got it when it came out. But this was one of the Generations toys you did have earlier on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I got the Combiner Wars. I got the Takara Unite Warriors version when it came out. I got it pre-ordered, I think. I love it, honestly. Really love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's what I did with the Combiner Wars one. I remember the first photo of it that we ever saw was with the man in front of it, wasn't it?
It was.
We could just see the bit of it, and I remember everyone going mad, and then he moved out of the way, and then we saw other photos, and people weren't keen. But it was the same with the breakfast they did, the SDCC breakfast event where they showed off Menasor for the first time. Yeah, and it was sort of glued together, and it just didn't look great. And again, you're like, oh, but these are photos taken by people in this event.
I do think, and I do think those initial reveals. I know we've talked about this on the pod before, but I do think sometimes those initial reveals shape the kind of conversation and the opinions.
Superior one had his thunder stolen completely, like you said, by Star Convoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Should have waited, announced it later.
Yeah,
let him have his own thing.
Announce it later as its own thing, as a full set, and show it off in all its glory. And I think this conversation would be so different. Honestly, I don't think we'd be here a month or two later with people still going, talking about the merits or not of how it converts and whatever. I think it would be a different conversation.
I'm just thinking about why I chose, when you asked that question, Sixo, and why I chose Unite Warriors Devastator. And there is multiple different reasons. One is the fact that it was Takara Hasbro making a Titan, right? There was this was a new scale for them. It was massive, and that I was like, that's cool, right? That's going to be exciting.
Is that the second one?
Yeah, it was. It came after.
It was the second one, wasn't it? Because we had
Titan.
Metroplex.
Yeah, we had Metroplex, and then we got that one.
Combiner Wars was the first of this whole era of generations.
Of that line. Yeah,
it was Devastator.
But but the other thing was, I remember like really enjoying transforming each individual bot and then combining it into, and it wasn't like arduous, and I was knee deep in third party stuff at that point as well, and that's what I enjoyed about it. That's what I loved about it, was the fact that it wasn't overly complicated, and I was a bit more forgiving for any kind of sideways elbows or any of that kind of stuff, or a lack of articulation here or there, because it was quick, it was easy, it was fun. Again, it was absolutely to do with my son being little, that he could grab it and play with it, and it wasn't going to snap or break. It was really solid, and yeah, it was a big chunky boy, and exactly what Devastator should be in my mind, and they realized it really well.
Yeah.
It came down to that fun factor and that just ease of play and stuff. That's what really did it.
I think what people want from it now is the sort of masterpiece style thing, don't they? Where it looks just like the cartoon. Whereas when that first popped up, you were like, sort of does, sort of doesn't. It's still a toy. It's still designed.
Yeah, very much still a toy.
With. And that's the thing that I think is always underappreciated by that toy from people who probably never handled it. It's that once you get it in your hand, it's like, oh, it's like Tonka toys.
Yeah, it really is
simple.
Yeah. It's
but
really
that's the strength.
But that's the strength of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with Transformers is once you get complicated, they move out of being fun toys for kids, aren't they? If the whole thing is going car, robot, whatever, and it's the same with combiners, like the vintage combiners. The joy of them was being able to just quickly flip the little limbs over and plug them into a bigger loop.
Exactly. Yeah.
I completely agree with everything you guys have just said, because it's funny, Jason, as you were talking, I was just thinking exactly what you just said, Liam, in a weird way, which is that I was also at this point, and it was an unusual one for me to pick up, but it was because I was sort of knee deep in Masterpiece third-party stuff at that point. And it was a bit of a revelation for me too in that regard, because I'd got used to combiners that take, half an afternoon to transform or more. Hours, literal hours of your life sitting there. And the thing is with some of those is that once you finally eventually get them into their combined form and try and not have them fall over or whatever, you sort of look at it and think, it's glorious, it's magnificent, it's beautiful, I never want to transform it ever again.
Exactly.
And it sits in its combined form for the rest of its days. And I've had that with numerous sets of third-party combiners and whatever else. I fully appreciate how they combine, and I'm very impressed by them, but it's not a process you want to do. No, exactly. It's not fun. Fun is a buzzword, Jason. Come on.
Even Hercules, like Hercules was I think on the simpler end, but even at that time, I remember that felt like overly complex at times at the beginning, and now you'd be like, man, this is so simple compared to most Masterpiece style.
I've still got that figure, actually. I've got Hercules. That was one of my first third-party combiners.
It's a real peak moment in third-party still.
Yeah, it was cool.
I love the fact it had the option for the tread arms, or that was a default option before you got the kits.
Oh, yeah, I never got the kits, but that's cool.
Combiners, they lend themselves really well to upgrade kits and bits and bobs, because you used to add in little bits, and we didn't get round to my favourite of the combiners.
Well, I was waiting.
Well, we need to know.
Come on, get in there.
Well, so I'm going to pick two quite recent ones, because they're both spectacular, and that's the Unite Warriors Technobots, which I
knew you'd say
that's
Technobots.
A good choice.
Honest to God, the best combiner team. The G1 toy is great, but the Unite Warriors one, because the Hasbro one the combiner one was crap. I'm just going to say that. I'll be polite. It was terrible. It really was. But the Unite Warriors one, they took all different molds and completely retooled them in different ways, and they are all wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I also got a little upgrade kit for it, and it made it even better. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful set, and one of the things I've had the most fun with since it came out. Like, just wowed by every part of it. But the other one is actually a better toy, less of my favorite. But that was the LG's Seacons for Jason.
Nice.
Which is the set that perfects the Combiner Wars style stuff, because they take all those sort of Terracon molds and what have you, and then they turn them into the Seacons. But because it's Takara, and they put them in this separate sort of LG part of the line with these nice little boxes, but they throw in tons of extra parts for them. It's really hard to tell that Snaptrap comes from Silverbolt in
That's
part,
cool.
because he's this whole shell on his back, but those bits all come off and form separate guns, and they do things that are similar to the vintage toys. Like Snaptrap, he doesn't have the same gun mechanism, but you can pop the cannons each forward, to simulate that. But you can take them off and you can hold them or plug them in, and it's that kind of it is like the vintage toy, but new with all extra parts. And God, they are so good.
That's one I don't have
really
actually.
Good.
That would be cool.
Really expensive now, but absolutely
well, I was going to say,
set of toys.
Your photos of that were always really good, Liam. I remember that was
Thank you.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I remember saying at the time. But that set has become out of reach now, I think, for most people.
It
hasn't
wasn't at the time though. It was really awkward, and I remember people went mad because of the price, because they were very expensive, but they were really limited. Because I remember I got mine through Kapow, and I remember each time they were going to put them up, they were like, "We've only got a limited amount." Were they Takara Tomimall or something like that? They were something, and
they were Generation Selects, weren't they? But
Takara.
Ones. Yeah, well, yeah. Selects is supposedly, a Hasbro Takara combined thing, isn't it? But I remember they were limited for sure.
Yeah, they are. They were Selects, something like that. But they were very limited in what they could get, and that just got harder and harder as it went along with each release.
They do look impressive, though. Definitely.
Really, really good.
Well, I'm sort of not surprised by either of your answers, but equally, I think they're terrific answers. So, spot on. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, you've totally nailed it. I don't know what I'd pick for mine, honestly. I'd be tempted to say JRX.
Oh.
But even then, there's compromises because the individual robots are pretty goofy. I love the set.
That's
don't get me wrong.
The novelty, love of them.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
You have to accept that with all combiners. I think that somewhere, somehow, there's a compromise made to get it to what you have in front of you.
Yeah, this is it.
You just have to enjoy it for what it is.
I think that is it for me. That's the message exactly. The whole thing of combiners really is that they're not going to be perfect. Like even the ones that have this sort of shell, with or whatever, there's still compromises in that. The non-parts forming ones, the all-in-one transformation ones, there's compromises in those as well. They all have it. Even looking back to G1, there are plenty of compromises in some of those combiners and things as well.
Combiner Wars,
yeah,
filled with them. Like when they made what's his face, Leozak, into a Skylinks repaint. Remember that?
Yeah. It's a disapproving Liam sigh.
The sideways eye look there was brilliant.
Yeah. Especially when the Starscream came along in the very next line in Power of the Primes that looks suspiciously like Leozak in combined form and his jet mode.
I would maybe cite your Beast combiners as well as being pretty terrific. Like Magnaboss, I think, is pretty up there for me. That's pretty great. But again, people don't like the Ironhide, the elephant in his robot mode and stuff. So I think it's what you said, Liam. I think ultimately none of them are perfect. And maybe that's okay. Like, I don't think that's
exactly.
If perfection is what you're looking for, then maybe don't collect plastic robots. I'm just being realistic.
But it's fine to not like them and be unhappy with them as well.
Exactly. That is also true.
I just think it's you like what you like, don't you? But I don't think there's any reason to get irate about it or be like, oh, this sucks, because I think there's a lot of space between something being great and it sucking, and I think a lot of the time things might just be fine.
Yeah.
And also, don't necessarily judge it just on the images that we're getting as well, because a lot of the chat we've had tonight is that people quite often are judging this based on what they've seen, and get these things in hand. That's the we can, even if you're just seeing it ideally in the shelf and just kind of like
But on the flip side of that is that people can only judge from what they see at the same time at the beginning. I think that's why you get it. So maybe there is something to be said for, I don't know, maybe just better photos.
I think that's fair.
Higher Toy Box Soapbox. Anywhere there's an at. Find him there.
Yeah,
get him in for all your photography needs.
But that, I think sometimes we can, like, we all agree, it's like, when you see it in hand or see better photos, you just wait and stay calm.
Yeah.
But there is an element of they are sending you a picture to go, hey, look, get excited about this toy, and you're like, I'm not excited because it doesn't look good in this photo.
It's absolutely
you can't sometimes blame people for reacting. I just think some people, they react at the higher end of things.
I do agree as well. I think it's perfectly valid and fair to look at something and go, whoa, that's not for me. Do you know what I mean? Which we all do. We all do
MPG
that,
train bots.
Yeah, well, yeah. Exactly.
Wrong.
It's inevitable. Combine them, then talk. Okay, like come back with an opinion.
I'll still love the
combined.
trains, though. So
I know we all love the trains.
They might all be in
the
pieces at the end of it.
It's the combined mode. Come and talk to us about the combined mode.
There's the name of the Patreon series. Combine a talk.
Combine it all.
Oh, there we
could
go.
Work.
That's
that could
it.
work. But I think, yeah, it's perfectly valid to not like stuff. I think it's the hyperbolic. It's trash. It's this. It's whatever. It's all of that sometimes loses me
the extreme.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Expectations.
Yeah, exactly. So
we've been around the block a lot, haven't we? So I think we've had this rodeo many times. We've seen all this, so I think we can sort of sit back and go, yeah, it looks all right. I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to seeing more. I think is generally the attitude I have toward things now. Is
yes,
yeah, I'm gonna wait to see more. That's cool.
Totally.
Certainly for me, Superion, all of that has got my intrigue, and the fact that it's got me considering a Menasor says everything. I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm excited. You should get that.
Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Right, well, it's that time for the part of the pod where we're going to talk about our sponsor, and that is tonight, tfsource.com. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. But tonight, we've got a bit of a special guest that we're going to talk about again on this podcast. I feel like we have talked about this toy a few times now. Liam, you've had some opinions on this in the past. but
Many opinions.
Yeah, sure, it exists.
Jason, do you want to say the name of this toy?
This is Super Jinrai.
He got it right.
Oh, no.
He got it right.
Yeah,
I was waiting.
I was waiting for Jim Ray.
Yeah,
No.
Jim Ray.
No Jim Ray. No.
We had it on a little podcast, on a Patreon podcast the other day on one of our minisodes, didn't we? It was Jin Ray, to be fair, but we
Jin Ray.
misheard it as Jim Ray.
Yeah.
Jim Ray.
Jim Ray. I know.
And we're doing the big one, aren't we? Not the full
MPG
combined one. So
09.
big Jim.
Which I have. I have this. Yeah. And I got as far as the clamshell, and it's still in the clamshell.
Wow. $290 well spent.
Still, look at his big laser freaking arms, hands. That's so cool.
Frickin' laser.
Freaking laser.
Yeah.
You know.
So Liam, have you got more to say on this one?
Well, before Liam slags it off, right, I'm just going to say that I love this figure, and I will always love this figure. That is all. I will now be quiet.
What do you mean you love this figure? You just said you hadn't got it out of the bloody clamshell.
I was going to ask, I actually love it.
Yeah, I love it because it's
you
beautiful.
love photos of it.
I love photos of it, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
It's wonderful stock photography.
I loved it so much I didn't even take it out the bloody box. Well, I might have one en route.
No, after all that.
Hang on a minute. What's going on here then, Liam? Because I don't have this en route yet. So you're getting a masterpiece. I'm getting.
I thought you did it.
Baby Generations toys.
Oh, you getting the
swap places.
You getting the 60?
happening?
Are you getting the baby one? Are you? I didn't realize. I thought you were getting the big guy. Okay.
No, I'm not getting either of them yet. No, they've not got any of them en route. I mean, I got the old.
Oh.
No, I got the old Generations lads on the way, didn't I? Generations toys. And Liam's going all masterpiece.
What?
Maybe
I'm so confused, Liam. What is going on?
To be fair, I said in the minisode I was probably going to get it. Do you not remember? I said I was.
I remember a lot of things from that minisode, but that was not one of them. I remember some very strong opinions about feet.
Oh,
Yes.
You're going to be miserable because it's rubbish. I took it out of the clamshell and put it back in. I'm joking. I didn't really.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Don't know.
You know.
No, but in the minisode I did. I remember I said I'm probably going to end up getting it because it's PMOP, isn't it? Well, Jin Rhyme, but it's PMOP. It's just not a great looking PMOP.
Jim Ray.
I'd want to make sure I experience it first in case it is better in hand.
It does look pretty good. I got to say, I actually think the product photography on this one is not so hot. Like, I think some of the poses they put it in the white background images and all of that are kind of awkward. But a lot of the in-hand photos I've seen of it make it look better, in my opinion.
I still wish they would have released it with the other little guy. Is it MP60 as well?
How do you mean?
So you could have bought the bundle with the trailer with the silver stripe.
But then they won't get all
style.
Right, I see. I got you. So that you so you could get the kind of the toy look.
Yeah, the full train of trucks. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The full train. Just the toy style deco. But so I'm intrigued. I've seen a lot of photos of it. It's still not really won me over, but I've known since the photos come out, I've got to get it to try it. And, if I don't like it, that's that. But, it's Power Master Optimus Prime. That was the one masterpiece I always wanted.
Yeah. Totally.
Just better than this.
Well, we're really selling this thing tonight, aren't we, lads? I mean, God, Jason hasn't taken his out of the box yet. I'm like on the fence, and Liam's like, "Yeah, I'll get it," but I'm still not sold.
Well,
I've just had to restrain myself because I was about to launch into a flurry of my latest new critiques, and then I thought, this is an
Wait till
advert.
you've got it.
This is a sponsor segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
It's got really nicely painted Autobot logos. Terrific.
Have you got new critiques then? Have you got additional critiques since
He's
the
going to
mini
complain about the empty
you don't want to
gun
get me started on that chest
casings
grill.
and all that stuff, exactly. Well, so from my experience of having this figure and not taking it, the reason I've not taken it
What's
out of the box,
experience?
the
It's not an
experience
experience.
of taking it out of the
not
box.
experience?
No, it is.
But you
because
didn't take it out of the box.
when you see it out the box in its clamshell, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh my
It
God,
is,
man.
Honestly,
I
I
love it.
Take my
you
time.
turned up for day one of Architecture 101, and then you're like, as an architect myself,
Well, let's not
As
dig into
someone
my
who designs
animation
houses.
training either.
After he's drawn a picture of a house on a napkin.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Maybe you're sussing me out a little bit here, but to give you the
You've
full
got
review,
both of them, haven't you, Jason?
I do. Yeah, I bought, and I'm definitely.
But you've
gonna be
opened
buying,
neither.
I'm going to be buying God Bomber as well. Well, I've opened them, and I did cut the tape around the clamshell, but then I think I had to. I had to record the podcast last week, and I had to put it all back. That's what it was.
Steady on,
or I had to
son.
be
God.
dad, or something like that.
Oh man,
it was all too quick. So my initial experience of it is delight. That's what I'd say.
What experience? You've cut some tape.
Yeah, that's all part of the experience.
Your experience of looking at it.
I've got a roll of sellotape right next to me now. I can cut that and save myself $290. What are you about?
Everyone should go to tfsource.com and get
like
this.
You opened a supermarket or something. I cut the ribbon. I declare this box open.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter, 4 cans of baked beans.
Right. Well, fair to say we've really sold this thing tonight, chaps, isn't it? So we've done a great job with it.
I tell you what, if you do want someone to sell it, our dear friend, old boastful manfish, Mr. John Strong, took a beautiful picture of the MP60.
I saw it. Yes.
It flipped me around on it a bit more. Silly, tiny chest grill and all the other things aside. It looks like a fun little posable thing, and it is very little. It's way littler than we thought it was, wasn't it? So
it is really small. That is one thing that's really weirded me out about it in a weird way, because it's like, I know we joked about these things being generation scale before, but this thing literally is generation scale. It's the same size as Studio Series Prime. I mean,
it's smaller in truck mode as well.
I know. Well, it's like really weird.
Still looks cool. I've seen it in truck mode in person.
The cab looks cool in truck mode. Give it that.
Sellotape was just something else, man.
Yeah.
The way the scissors went through the tape.
I use a scalpel. I think you'll find.
Oh my God.
Which is in this special box that I'm holding up now. It's a whole. It's a whole moment, right?
I guess if cutting the tape is the highlight of your week, then you would have a special box of tools for the occasion.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
I live a simple life and simple pleasures.
Good God.
Which is why everyone should go to tfsource.com and buy this
They
figure.
should.
Yeah, you get loads of tape on it.
Tape cutting experience, yes. You can go and do that. Or just get a roll of tape. Do go to tfsource.com and check this toy out and judge for yourself, I guess. Treat yourself, yeah.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do it.
Treat
You deserve
yourself.
Treat yourself badly.
Yeah.
I'm going to love it, aren't I? When it comes,
You are absolutely. This is going to be the funniest turnaround ever.
Yeah. I'm setting my level so low.
I am just sitting in my own little bubble. So I need to get it open and out the box before Liam gets his.
Are we going to come back and do another chat on this then, Liam? When you get it in hand, are we going to come back and do the final verdict?
We got to, because it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Really, it's probably me that hates
Here's the deal. This is what we do. Liam gets MPG Jinrai in hand, and then you combine your trains, and then we come back for a big extravaganza on it.
Oh my goodness! Can I not just do Jinrai as well, please? Because that's going to take me weeks.
You got to do all of it.
MPG so much
Bonanza.
I know.
MPG go nuts.
I've booked holidays. Oh, geez.
MPG go nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
MPG go
totally
nuts.
misheard that as MPG go nuts.
It's the fourth G, gonads. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
MPGGG.
Anyway, go and get the toy. tfsource.com for all your Transformers and third-party needs.
Yes.
I'm keeping all of that in, by the way.
Oh, right.
Please
I
do.
thought that...
No,
No,
please do.
I was
Confused when you
like,
came
I'm
back
keeping
then.
all of it in.
I thought,
MPG
good.
Gonads is staying in.
Yeah, that's got to stay
good.
in.
We now return to the Transformers.
Right, well, that's going to about do it for combiners. And I don't think we really set the world to rights. I don't know that we ever would. That might be a little bit ambitious, but we certainly had some opinions along the way. And our opinions were other people's opinions are wrong. I think that was no. I don't think it was
I was
that.
going to say it was about bringing people together, and there's a choice for everybody. I think that's what we're
better.
saying.
That's a better way to say
Yes.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Friends.
Stop judging toys so harshly. Some of you.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's hard to please everybody.
Yes. That's it.
And yeah, just enjoy what you can as much as you can.
Yeah. You don't have to like everything, but not everything is trash either.
Have a cup of tea.
Have a
Sit
nice
down.
cup of tea. Oh, lovely.
Put your feet up,
Cup
lad.
of tea. Yeah. Get
Yeah.
brew on.
Yeah. Get down shop, get a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Let's watch Family Fortunes.
All right. Sure. Well, I would imagine our contingent of American listeners now are probably wondering what the hell we're on about, but never mind. There is more of that, of course, on our Patreon, which you do want to get on. If you've enjoyed tonight and you like this kind of banter, you can get a lot more on our Patreon. We've done some incredible mini-sodes recently. So we do, for those that don't know, on our Patreon, we have 5 glorious tiers of stuff. You can get early access to our regular episodes like this up to a week early. You can get on our Discord. But the real meat and potatoes of it all is the additional recordings. So you can get mini-sodes at the one level and then mini-series at the next one. And we have done some great ones recently, haven't we? We've done some really good mini-sodes.
I'm a vegetarian, so it's fake meat and potatoes.
Right, yes, faux meat.
Yes.
Like faux combiners.
Yeah, corn.
Yeah. Fake parts.
Fake parts, meat and potatoes.
Oh, the Superion chest is very tasty. So
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
No, we have done some good. We did one on 2025 and kind of what we're looking forward to about Transformers in 2025.
almost like a full-length episode, isn't it?
And that was a bit spooky as well, because we had two things came up there with like the reactivate game, chatting about that, and then
The
also
next day.
dead.
next day that's gone. Yeah, and then we also had it was what you said, Sixo, wasn't it, for Masterpiece line? What's coming next?
It was.
And then
we spent a good deal of time talking about what's next for Masterpiece after Jim Ray and all of this.
Jim
and
Ray.
old Jim Ray, old big Jim.
oh, I love Jim.
Are you Jimmy
Oh, big
Ray?
Jim. But we
wants
were
to
like,
know.
what's next? And then literally the next morning, they unveiled blooming Rat Trap,
Yeah.
MPG Rat Trap. And we were like,
That's
oh, well,
brilliant.
I guess that
There we go.
that chat's out of date then.
It's like a Pink Hot Rod, Turtles Mutations. That was another one.
Oh, yes.
The
Yeah.
next day. Gosh, all these
We're
things.
like the Simpsons of Transformers podcasts, right? Like we predict the future with
Yeah,
alarming
exactly.
accuracy.
We're so in
Yeah.
it. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Exactly.
just
But
don't
the thing
know.
is, the sad thing is, it's always like the next day or the next
Yeah.
day. So by the
Yeah,
time our version comes out, it feels like we're behind the curve by a week or
Yeah.
two. Because
The number of times this has happened where we've
Yeah.
had a chat and then literally before the recording even goes live, it's like something changes and it's like, oops.
Oh, yeah.
If we'd have just waited
You know.
48 hours, that would have been different.
Mm.
But hey, it's all part of the charm.
Exactly.
And you can get a lot of that on our Patreon, of course. We've had some great ones recently. We've had Predaking that we talked
Star Convoy?
about, Star Convoy
Yeah.
/ Optimus Prime. We did that. We've got, what else did we do recently?
Did
I'm
a
just looking
Titan's
it up.
Return on 2 figures with the same name,
Of
which you have to join to
course.
find out who that is.
it's Star Convoy. We're not messing around with this Star Optimus Prime nonsense. It's Star
Oh,
Convoy around these
okay.
parts. Let's,
Yeah.
Sorry, Liam.
I mean, I'm fine with that, honestly. So,
Star Convoy Optimus Prime.
yeah. Well, Jason.
Jason's banned. Jason's out of here.
Yeah, beat blocked. Right.
But yeah, you're right. We have had some good Titans Return chat recently. We've done a bit on
that was
we've done a
really
bit
good.
on Skybound's series of Transformers comics. So that's been kind of fun.
And Tapman. Got Tapman.
Good Tapman.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been a while since one of
It's
those.
time for another one before too long. So it's all been
Oh,
happening.
God.
All been happening. So you want to get yourself over there to patreon.com/Triple Takeover. Have a brew, sit down, enjoy some more Triple Takeover
There we go.
delights. That's what I say.
Get your feet up.
Exactly. What could be better?
Have some biscuits. Stroke
Yeah.
a whippet. Wah. Get out pit, lad.
You've enjoyed listening to Liam so much tonight that you want to pay for the experience to get more. That's
See that as an entire
That's where you're at.
mini-sode.
Exactly.
Stroke a whippet.
Oh,
3 years of this now. 3 years of it.
Amazing. That's
Go,
episode 100,
water.
everyone. Liam just doing that.
Now then. Yeah.
That's what the people demand.
Yeah.
But there are some other benefits to Patreon, aren't there, Jason?
No, indeed. You get a shout out when you join us as well. And we've got quite a lot.
You looked confused there for a minute. You looked
generally.
really confused.
That's just me generally.
Yeah.
You know?
You looked at me like, what? What are the benefits? What am I?
Yeah.
What happens? Oh no! So we've had a little, because we've had so many guests of late. We've not been able to do shout outs. So apologetic ramp to all those people that have been waiting to hear their. You see what I did there?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Subtle. So you get apologetic ramps only £1, everybody. That's the starter. That's the starter tier that you want to get in there. And Chadwick Shaw has joined us as an apologetic ramp. Hello,
That's a
Chadwick.
cool name.
That's a really cool name.
Very cool. Matthew Short as a Sixo's butler. Very appreciated, Matthew. Welcome. Zephyrus or Zeph1 Russ. But I'm going to say Zephyrus. For Inner Beast has joined us there. And GoBots Classic joiner here. Pavement. That's the best name ever, isn't it? Love that.
That's a great name.
That's a great name.
Spent a lot of time on those.
Yeah.
Face down.
I'm wondering if it's a musical reference. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mm,
Or
yeah.
it's a Motomaster reference. Who knows? They don't drive on the pavement, do they? Wait a minute. That's a road.
Maybe they just like walking on pavements.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's an indie rock reference, you know? You know Pavement, the band Pavement,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pavement, let
Yeah.
us know. Come on. Give
Yeah.
us a shout and let us know where this is inspired from.
Maybe they just like urban architecture and, it's kind of infrastructure.
Maybe
Kind of
so.
infrastructure.
Maybe they're an architect, exactly.
Yeah, they're a
Yeah.
proper architect, That's what it is.
Not like fake architect Jason.
Hello, I'm over here. We've also got Ian, who's joined us in Inner Beasts. We've got Printer as a Sixo's butler.
Are you sure that's not like just a mistake and that's you trying to connect
No.
to the printer and you put
But
that
it's-
down as a name?
but
It's on his Wi-Fi.
Oh no, it's like
Printer Canon LS
or
series.
it's Pry-Knitter as well, depending if I break
is
it
it
up.
Inkjet?
Yeah, Epson. They've come. They're a Sixo's butler. Show some respect. Thank you, Printer. We love you. Aaron Muchel has come in as an apologetic ramp. Simon
I'm
Goodall.
just thinking of Printer as as a GI Joe that's just really good at like printing copies out.
Copies of
That's
stuff.
their
He's
cheese.
doing all the admin at GI Joe headquarters. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon came in as Sixo's butler. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. Then we've got Stephen King, Man in Pig. Now, Stephen
Not that
is
one.
also head of animation at ILM, which is an episode that we recorded with him and Alex and Amy as well.
Yeah,
So
we love Stephen. He's a great guy.
yeah,
So I was
absolutely wonderful dude.
so honoured to see him sign up as well, and he's popped up on our Discord, which was really
Yeah,
lovely.
it's
So-
really amazing. So shout out to Stephen, who says he listens as well with the team at ILM. So big props to you guys, and hello from all of us. Thank you so much
That
for the
is-
support, Stephen.
I still can't get
Oh,
my
man.
head around that. So
I
they
know,
followed me
yeah.
on blooming Twitter as well.
All
I
right,
realised
stop
that.
flexing.
Yeah,
Bugger off. Look at you.
You know, I assume they followed you guys too, didn't they?
Yeah, sure. Let's just imagine they did, but let's move on anyway. So, about ILM when we were kids, like
I know.
the Star Wars people, like when you used to see all the behind the scenes stuff of Star Wars.
It's
It's
just
like ILM, they were
incredible.
like
I got all the bits.
absolute
Yeah.
magic, incredible,
Yeah, so
and they
cool.
were so nice.
So
lovely.
such cool people.
Go listen to that episode, people, because by the time this goes out, that one's live
Yeah.
as well, and it's well good. Yeah. We also have
I love that logic of by the time this episode, which is the following episode from that episode, by the
Yeah, that's
time
why it's
this is
live.
out,
Yeah.
that one is out. Like, yeah, that's sequentially.
that's
yes,
mad.
By the time you hear
Isn't
this,
it?
the last episode will have been released.
that's episode 96
That is
and this is
time.
97. So yes, yeah, that's 2 weeks later. In fact, you know.
That's how time works, It's important to
Really
clarify
nailed this
this.
podcasting lark, haven't we?
Cindy Lauper famously said, "Time after time, Jason."
Time after time.
Time after time. It's true.
Time
That's
after
the,
time.
that's the end music, isn't it? We also have Nivik, or Niv3K, as an apologetic ramp. Hello.
Cool
And
name.
Sam Kershaw, Goldbots Classics, there as well.
Oh,
And
welcome to the
continuing,
team.
we've got Connor Ross coming in at Sixo's Butler. We've got A and a butterfly emoji, which is very pretty.
Yeah, a little butterfly emoji.
Yeah, it's very cute. And Rob Schwarz.
Is it not Schwartz?
It could be that. Yeah. Rob Schwartz. Hi, Rob.
Where did Suarez come from?
I mean, I'm just reading it as it's written, but
It definitely says Schwartz. Schwartzer, as an E.
Schwarzer, maybe. Yeah, either Schwartz or Schwarzer.
Rob Schwarzer.
How are you reading that as Suarez?
Where did Suarez come from?
Well, I'm doing it phonetically. Suarez. No, I did an extra E there. I do apologize, Rob. I put an extra E in like Siacons. I apologize. Yeah.
I think there was more than just an E.
You put a war in.
Yeah, Suarez.
I got carried away. Rob was the last one. I was excited.
I thought as well, it's quite a long list of names, and I was like, we've made it as well. We've made it without a mispronunciation. But
I was the
final hurdle.
I didn't even pay attention, but I could tell from Sixo's eyes the way they lit up with confusion. I was like, oh, that cannot say that. Let's go and have a look and see what it is.
I was like, hang on a minute.
You could see he was following it, wasn't he? That's what it was. Rob, we love you for the support. Thank you so much. My apologies for pronouncing your name incorrectly, but it is my brand.
Yeah, thank you.
He'll come on now and he'll say, no, it really is Suarez.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be cool. We have questions as well. So we got 2 questions this week.
I have questions.
we have so many.
Yeah, your questions could be off the pod, right?
Okay.
Right. So Riley is coming in. Very polite, Riley, of you as well to say, I'm not sure if I can submit another listener question. Of course you can, Riley. That's absolutely fine. We welcome it. But if we can, here's my second question. If you could make any Transformers crossover, what would it be? It can be any movie, cartoon, toy line, band/musician, video game, cereal brand, anything goes. Personally, Riley would love to see a Jaws crossover. Thanks for the great content and keep up the great work. So I love the idea of a Jaws crossover.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's good. I'm going to go straight in with Liam on here, this one actually. What's your crossover?
See, this took me a while because I like almost everything that exists. I'm into so many things. And then I was trying to think, I was like, Jurassic Park done it, Turtles done it, Back to done it, Ghostbusters. And then I kind of circle back to the one thing I really, really want that I've never had, and that is a toy of the bike from Akira, which we spoke about with Mr. Parrish in that episode.
Choice.
And that I would really like.
That's a cool
little crossovers of
cool idea.
Like the other bikes as well, but mainly the Canada bike because it is just, man, it's just one of those pop culture icons, and you can finally recreate the photo that everybody does with every bike.
Yes,
skidding, and it's.
The photo.
I spend so much time. That's the thing I look for more than anything to buy. And there are lots of versions, but they're either obscenely expensive or really hard to get. There's no like sort of just regular middle ground ones. But I did see a little Lego one recently. It looked quite cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it would be that.
Brian was really into it as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like he was obviously a fan, and he was into that idea.
Note I had for that episode was suggest Akira bike crossover.
Yeah. Really? He brought it
up himself. Yeah,
he brought it up. I was amazed. Yeah.
That's superb. What about you, Sixo? What would be yours?
I knew what it was going to be as soon as I read this question, and we were like, let's do this question tonight.
Is it pavement?
It is pavement. Yeah, exactly. It's pavement. No, it's Red Dwarf.
Oh, yes. Oh.
I was so worried you were going to say that, Liam, honestly. But I am a
So the
huge
actual Red Dwarf
fan.
mining ship or Goldbug?
I don't really, to be honest, I haven't thought of as far as like this specific ship. I get this specific ship. Excuse me. This specific ship. I guess Starbug would be fun. The actual Red Dwarf ship itself would be fun. I don't really mind, but I am a huge Red Dwarf fan. I know you both are as well.
Yeah.
Mr. James Roberts is clearly, and we talk about it all the time in our IDW chats. I just think it would be, it's never going to happen. Like, it's so far left field of like what is being considered, but it would just be fun and interesting. I don't know. And I love anything Red Dwarf, really. So
A Starbug.
Exactly.
A kingdom for a
It'd be cool,
Starbug.
wouldn't it?
It'd just be very different and unusual and fun.
Yes.
You could have the head as like Crichton or something. Be, I don't know, weird.
One of his bare heads.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. And then you press the button, it just goes snake head.
Little Vindaloo accessory.
It's the second Red Dwarf reference in the show tonight.
yeah, it's true.
That's brilliant. That's a good choice, like that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Be very good.
Excellent choice. Perfect choice.
So I approached this question with mild panic and slight disillusionment and not really couldn't think of anything. And then, so my first thought was because Riley said cereal.
Curveball. Because we know if Jason does a curveball, it's going to be something that already exists. So it's like, I'm going to say Back to the Future.
No, honestly. So then I was like, I've got to make sure I don't choose something that's been done. And then I couldn't think of anything.
It's the Death Star, isn't it? It's the bloody Death Star.
No, not Death Star. And then I thought of
Jason, I got it down here. I got the bloody Death. We're going to do a mini-sode on it.
Yeah,
we're going to do a mini-sode on it. Sorry.
The pain. Oh, it's all right. We should do a mini-sode on it. I'll probably have
a trap.
We will.
Jason.
I know.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Oh, no.
It's a trap.
So I ended up coming up with 3 ideas as well. So
what?
I know, I got carried away. But I'll keep it short and sweet, right? But my first one,
how does mild panic manifest as 3 different ideas?
That's how I work. That is how architects work. You know, we have the idea, a concept. We start with a wall, and then suddenly we've got a mansion. That's how it works. And Riley said cereal, so then I thought, oh my goodness, cereal. That's pretty cool. What could that be? Tony the Tiger. Tony the Tiger. That would be good, wouldn't it? As a transformer, Beast. You would love that, Sixo. But curveball transforms into a bowl. Didn't expect that, did you? That's what.
What? The way you said that's brilliant. It's blowing his mind, haven't I?
Yeah, this
is this a curve bowl?
These are all for Hasbro. There we go. Yes, brought it round. And my other 2 ideas were Battlestar Galactica
now, isn't he?
and Street Hawk. So
what was the first one?
Battlestar Galactica would be. Yeah,
I'd like to see that. So say we all.
Yeah. But I'm vying for Tony the Tiger that turns into a bowl. That would be genius.
Just on that, Jason. That's a good point. I've got the Rice Krispies ones. Did you ever get those?
Oh, I didn't know. It's actually a thing. Cars. I didn't know that's a thing. Yeah. Oh my goodness! Yeah. Wow, I had no idea. That's
somewhere over in that vicinity. But they did a little mailaways for little Rice Krispie packets that turn into jets.
Oh wow, that's cool. I had no idea.
Possibly. Yeah, they're really cool. They're just little square packs. Plastic.
That's brilliant.
They've got little pilots inside them of snap, crackle, and pop.
That's so cool. Fun. Oh, I love that. Yeah, maybe post those on the Discord if you can later. That'd be cool.
I would love to see them.
Second question for you guys. You've had some impressive guests on the pod, with more to come, I'm sure. But if you could have any Transformer on the pod, who would it be, and what would you talk about? Hope to hear one of these one day on the pod. You folks do a fantastic job, and I'm very happy to be a Gold Box classic. James Turnham. Thank you, James. That's a great question.
James Turnham. He's the man that turns around.
He's turning ham. Just there, turning a ham.
Turning a ham.
Yeah, but he's never heard that before.
Bright eyes.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. This episode, man.
I know. We got delirious. It's past the watershed, everyone. That's what's happened, you know.
So, 2025 energy, that's what it is.
Absolutely.
We love Mr. Turnham. He's a real presence on the Discord.
He is. He's great on the Discord, actually. Yeah, lovely.
Nice. Absolute legend. What was the question?
Good question. Which Transformer are we getting on as a guest? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wheelie. Who else could it be?
I would leave.
Oh no!
You have to have Jason telling him about his,
safe sex.
Safe sex. Don't get pregnant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really? Is it Wheelie, Liam? Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Wheelie is.
It'd be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious for about a minute, and then everyone would be like,
"But it would be like a musical episode because everything says rhymes." So it'd be like,
just like you both did with James's name.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna say Blur.
Oh,
get it done quickly. Go to bed.
Yeah, just done.
Go to bed
quickly.
I don't know which is the one who's into cheese. Alex, what's his face? Is that Alex something? Not a fan of that guy.
What?
Member of Blur. What's his name?
Oh God! I was like, where's he going with that?
I was like, oh my goodness. I was going to say Rodimus or Hot Rod because I just thought that would be kind of useful and fun to have Hot Rod on.
We're old men. He's a turbo revving young punk. I don't know if that would be a good dynamic, you know?
Yeah.
Cup. We'd probably get Cup on. He would be more our speed these days.
Yeah. But the most interesting would be Prime. So, yeah. But All right, that's quite an eclectic
Would
mix.
it? I think you'd just be sat there like,
Yeah.
maybe like being told off by your dad
I
constantly.
was going to say, why would he be the most interesting?
He'd be extolling virtues of wisdom and
You'd be sat there the whole time going,
peace
God, he's
before
off
tyranny.
again.
Oh no, that's Megatron.
You'd want someone
Yeah,
like
true.
fun, kind of crazy, and a bit wild.
Mirage.
Maybe like, I don't know.
Mirage from Rise of the Beasts.
Blitzwing.
Oh, fuck, Blitzwing's a crazy guy. He would be dangerous. You know?
Yeah, it'd be
Could
fun.
get a human character on. Yeah. Oh no, he said Transformer, didn't he?
He did say Transformer.
He did say Transformer, not human.
Jim Ray. We get Jim
Jim
Ray.
Ray. That's
we
it.
got to
That's
get
the
Jim
answer.
Ray.
It's
That's
Jim Ray.
true. That's it.
Because he is a
Absolutely.
human, but he's also not. So
Yeah. And we get
Jim-
Alpha Trion
Big Jim.
as well, so
Alpha
that we can
Trion.
confirm his name with him.
there we go. Alpha
Exactly.
Trion and Jim Ray.
Jim
We
Ray.
can get him on with Rob Suarez. Have our own little triple takeover.
Exactly. I know. Oh dear. Oh.
Jason, what would we do without you, honestly?
That was fun.
I love how Maz just used to read these at warp speed.
Oh, I know.
I know.
Jason's brought this whole new dimension to things.
Chaos.
I don't
You
know
know?
how we get through the episode anymore,
I
honestly.
know.
With
Brilliant.
Maz, this would have been
Brilliant.
a simple episode. It would have been really good, but it would have been like down to business. Do you know what I mean? But here we are.
Dear. Yeah.
Well, it's been quite the journey, isn't it? But yeah, you can get more of that, whatever that was, on our Patreon. And you can ask some questions as well and have them answered in Jason's own unique style and have your name read out and have it maybe pronounced correctly. We don't know.
If you're special.
Exactly. All of that is at patreon.com/triple takeover. And we should mention again that we do have a sponsor for the evening as well. That is tfsource.com. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs.
Yep. And if you want to talk to us about combiners, you can hit us up on social media. We are everywhere at Triple Takeover. Guys, Jason, where can they find you?
jswags.com.
Well, you said that. Such
Oh,
authority.
yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah. That's my seller's voice.
Are you going to ask me, Liam?
Yeah, go on then, Sixo. Where can they find you?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, go on then.
You can find me anywhere there's an app. No, I'm not going to do it.
Wait,
I feel
wait.
bad now.
Because they can't find you on Instagram.
I know.
don't.
I didn't. Are we going to
So
mention
don't be coming here
that?
with your lies.
Well, there's no app then, is there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
true, actually. Yeah, you can't find me on Instagram.
Save Sixo TF.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
culled me. They cut my Instagram.
Yeah,
Bastards.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolute
It's
bastards.
what
I
are they
know.
doing?
I
It's
know.
so random. Like, literally, I was. Do you know the worst thing is? I was out. I took the dog out late to go out. Do you know what I mean? And I was just checking my phone, and then it was like, your Instagram has been. I was like, no, it was really early. Actually, it was like 5:30 in the morning or something
Oh,
ridiculous. And I checked my phone, just waiting, and I was like, your Instagram's been deleted, and I was like, what? Why? And I was so confused.
Ridiculous.
Honestly. I've still not got to the bottom of it, honestly. Apparently, they think I was trying to imitate a business. So,
Honestly, it's like there's an algorithm gone haywire. That's what it is.
I often say
Yeah.
you're trying to imitate a podcaster, but
well, that's true. That would be true. Oh, shots fired. But no, it was mad because it was done by an AI, by an automated system, and then they say, "Oh, you can appeal here." So you click the appeal button, and
Which
then
is
that
an
got
AI.
shot down instantly, like instant email
Same
saying
AI.
by AI, by another automated system, and you're like, "Oh,
God.
okay." It's Rise of the Machines, is it? Do you know what
It's, it's so
It's
strange.
bizarre.
It's like what?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre because it's like, and part of me thinks that like, did your account get hacked whilst you were sleeping and someone posted something?
No,
But you would know, wouldn't you? So
no.
very, very random.
It was so random. The worst thing is that I was halfway through a conversation with BMAC on DMs, and then he ended up texting me really randomly going, "Is your Instagram down? What's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's so random." But it's I don't know if it'll be back at this
It's
point.
not ideal.
Let's get it back.
you know?
Maybe you can find me anywhere there's an app. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, but the hashtag save Sixo that's what we need. People rally around. Start
Yeah.
Thanks,
start
Jess.
flaming Zuckerberg.
Old Zuck, you can zuck off.
Yeah. Where are you, Liam?
I am anywhere there's an at. I can be toy box, soap box, anywhere there's an at. My old trademark phrase. So
Oh.
you'll be hearing from my copyright lawyers.
Well, I can't say it anymore. It's not true
Yeah.
in my
It's
case.
not true.
There are
Hang on, now
ads
we
and
know.
I'm not there.
Wait a second. Do we know who brought you down? That's what it is.
He's deceiving people.
I think it was Liam. I think Liam brought me down.
Because now you don't have an at.
No, Jason, don't tell him. Don't tell him, Jason.
Oh,
Jason,
no.
don't. I don't know what you're talking about, Sixo. Jason's between us. That's just
Yeah. Beep. End of episode.
Oh, maybe I issued you with a copyright strike. That's a thing, isn't it?
That is a thing.
Is that a YouTube thing?
Yeah,
That is a thing. Yeah.
That is a thing. Yeah, totally.
When I work from home, I have YouTube on in the background, and it's always like, cycled through videos, and it goes to something about streamers and things like scandals. I've never heard of these people. I don't know who they are. I assume this is because I've got old now. And they'll be like, this streamer has been issuing some other dude with a copyright strike, and it's not cool. And I'm like, what are these people talking about? What is this?
Maybe
what world is this?
We could just do that to each other. Like
That's the modern world.
Our new thing. Yeah, exactly.
Let's create some
Nobody
controversy.
just call each other an idiot anymore.
Yeah.
Get fact. Do that.
Get fact.
Right?
Oh, I thought you meant fact. F-A-C-T. Yeah.
Yeah, get fact. Yeah, you get fact.
It's like get fact checked.
Not going to find that on Meta, are you? Anyway. Yeah.
Certainly not. Can't find anything on Meta these days.
I know.
Particularly not Sixo.
Exactly. Definitely can't find me on there because they don't want me. Anyway, it's been fun talking about combiners and all of that jazz. And I've really enjoyed it, actually. It's set the world to rights, or maybe not. Probably not. But hopefully you've enjoyed it all the same. And let us know what you think. And otherwise, we'll catch you for the next one. And the fact that it's got me considering a Menasor says everything, I think. So
I hope you get it, man. I really do. And you don't hit any dead ends in your search.
He's back.
Honestly,
he's back.
He's
Jason,
back.
you nearly did a spit take there, I swear. We're just taking a little sip of your water.
No.
He almost had a breakdown.
Oh, no!
Oh, God.
This episode has been a wild ride, hasn't it?
I hope that wasn't a drag. Strip it from your mind.
Oh. Wow. See, now I feel like the rolls are back to their sort of natural state. Yours sounded really hard and forced.
Wrong.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? It really did. I had to work on that one.
I couldn't think of any for drags to do either, so...
Well, I gave him my best shot, but... what can
Oh,
you do?
dear.